cheer the effort, not the outcome. What do I mean by that? It might be easy if you're looking at it from the vantage point of supporting your child in a sports experience, that means that if your kid hits a pop-up in baseball to the shortstop, an easy one to catch, and instead of standing there or trotting to first, they run as hard as they can. The shortstop catches it. They're out. It was unsuccessful. However, supporting your kid and encouraging that they ran as hard as they could, you know, play out the play instead of mailing it in, that could be one way of interpreting cheer the effort, not the outcome. But I bring this topic up as more of a barometer for perhaps how competitive you are as a parent or a coach in the context of a youth sports experience. So, same situation. A player on the team or your kid hits an easy pop-up to the shortstop. And as they're running to first, the shortstop doesn't catch it. And your reaction to that, I think, can help you understand exactly where you're at as far as the overall understanding of the context of the situation, right? So if you imagine, it can be any level, sub varsity in high school. So any level, whether it be elementary, middle school, or early high school experience, that happens where there's a pop up to short. Your batter, your player, or your child has effectively, put themselves in a situation where they're going to be out. But the fielding team makes an error. They don't catch it, and they get on first. If your first instinct is to cheer that, what is it you're cheering? I understand that in the context of our world right now, everyone would likely cheer that. They would get excited. And they're internally, it's because they're caught up in the success of the team and ultimately winning the game. As opposed to that your player or your child that just hit that easy pop-up to the shortstop, they failed in what they did. They popped it up to the shortstop. And now what you're going to do is cheer the failure of the opponent. That's what you're doing when you cheer an error, which I'll tell you, at the sub-varsity level for baseball or softball, predominantly that's what you get. A lot of the success is players in the field are just unable to make the play. But if you sit back and think about it, is it appropriate? Does it seem like the right thing to do to get excited about the mistake of another player, another child? What the net of that? It's one thing to, if your kid did that, pops up to first, runs as hard as they can, or pops up to short, and the shortstop drops it, and your kid is, let's say, already on first base because they were running as hard as they could. You could say, nice, way to hustle. But getting overly excited about the player dropping the ball, it speaks to that what you have, your first and most important thing is winning. And if you're so caught up in that, then you'll not only cheer for your team's successes, but you're going to cheer for your opponent's failures, because in the end, that is going to help your team win the game. So when I say cheer the effort, not the outcome, I'm saying that if it was my child that popped up to short, ran hard, got to first, and the shortstop just didn't catch it, I wouldn't just be elated and cheer when they dropped it. Once the play was over, I would probably holler out to my child and say, way to hustle down the line. But I just wonder where we have lost sight of a bigger picture. I'm not saying that we need to coddle these opponents, but they already, I promise, whichever kid it is on whichever team, if there isn't anyone that cheers against their error, they're already going to feel internally that pressure, right? They're already going to put that on themselves because they've let their teammates down in front of everyone. Like, it's already on display. And to have then a bunch of other adults that you don't know cheering your mistake. And, there can be some subtlety to that, right? Because in a basketball game, you could have a player that makes a move on another player, and so the defender maybe stumbles, and then the offensive player gets all the way to the basket and scores. Well, that's a combination of a good play on the offense and also a miscue on the defense. But it's less obvious as when in a basketball game and the other team is at the free throw line and the opponent misses a free throw and you cheer that they missed the free throw. Now remember, I'm talking about sub-varsity. I'm talking about elementary, junior high, into early high school, ninth grade, sophomore. You cheer your opponent's like your child or your player had nothing to do with the other team missing a free throw, but you cheer. Even if it's in the last moments of a game, think about it. What do you stand to actually gain from winning any kind of sub-varsity game at all? There isn't any state championship. Players are still developing. They're still growing, especially when you're talking about junior high or elementary. If you're caught up into it so much that you cheer your opponent's mistake, I'd say it might be a good idea to do some reflecting on where your priorities are at as an adult participating in the viewing of a youth sports game. Because I would argue that cheering the opponent's failure it doesn't do anything really for your team's morale or your child's feelings, right? All they did was, if they grounded or hit a pop up to short, all they did was luck out that the other team didn't catch it. And then what you're doing is you're amplifying the mistake of another child. And again, I don't want this to get caught up. I'm always nervous about having these conversations because I feel like the first thing everyone would jump to is participation trophies, and we're trying not to hurt people's feelings, and let's give everyone a trophy, and let's not have first place. I still think that, again, winning and losing, winning is the object of every contest, and you're trying to achieve that, and that is a good thing. But I wish that we could all have better context, a better understanding about the whole interaction between both teams and all the players. And again, as an adult participating, as the coach, as the official, as a parent, anyone that's at a youth sports game, consider your responsibility for all of the players. Can you imagine what sort of a environment would be fostered if that's what the focus was cheering on the effort of all the players on the field or on the court, as opposed to celebrating or cheering the miscues of the opponent? So like I said, cheer the effort, not the outcome. Build up the players' effort. Reinforce trying as hard as you can. And try to not be so wrapped up in the outcome that you're willing to celebrate the failure of the opponent. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd be really curious to know the general reaction to this. Because I'm not trying to judge. I'm trying to shine a light on how unusual we behave and how focused we are on not just, well, the life lesson of winning and losing. People are just so absorbed in winning that we've come to accept a lot of things socially that I think in terms of our general welfare as a community, as a society, I think we could use an opportunity to refocus our compasses a little bit and to kind of think about what matters most and what does it mean to be a role model for young people and to be a good example for young people. Cheer the effort, not the outcome. Because I think part of it for me is that we try to develop a community, a society full of people that have a positive sports experience. One that when they get to be into their careers, whatever it is they end up doing in their 20s and 30s, if they have someone at their work that says, hey, we're going to join a rec basketball league at work or through the Y, do you want to join us? Or sand volleyball or whatever it is, that they would have had enough experience as a young person that was fun, at least. Not necessarily successful, but fun. Because it is a game, because sports are games. That when they get asked that in their 20s and 30s, that it sounds fun, that that's something that they would want to do. All that's going to do is foster a more healthy community. If you're someone that is interested in and enjoys and partakes in athletics into your young adult and adult life, you're going to be healthier, you're going to be happier. So I think focusing on that and considering that and what effect you might have on all of the kids involved in a sporting event, I think if we can all have a better perspective, it might help to foster a more positive sports experience for a lot of young people. Thanks again for tuning in. Again, share in the comments. What do you think about this? You have maybe some other people have some other thoughts or angles on this, or even if you think differently, comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks.